Hey, it's Ed Kaminsky with Shorewood Realtors, and we're checking in here in Manhattan Beach, California, and it's almost the summer now of 2012, and we have seen an instant shift, and I mean almost instant shift, from what has been determined a buyer's marketplace for the last probably 5 years. And today we've quickly shifted into a seller's market. And what does that mean? It just feels advantageous to the seller, meaning there's a lot less inventory on the market, there's a lot more buyers in the marketplace, interest rates are low, and people want to go out there and buy right now, which means the buyers are running into this tough situation called a multiple offer situation. You know, with multiple offers, there's always a challenge for a buyer to decide how much should they pay for the property. Should they be raising their bid price to try to win out, or should they back off and just let the bidding war proceed in front of them? So it's always a tough challenge. But I can tell you, there's always these special properties where you fall in love, you absolutely want the property, and you want to win. And so I want to talk about those cases when you want to win this property, and without having to really truly overpay for the property. There's a lot of great techniques of what you can do as a buyer to improve your chances of getting the property. We'll start with being sure that you are completely prepared with all the information that proves that you are truly qualified to buy this property. That's what the sellers want to know. They want to know that you can afford to buy it and that you're going to close that deal. So provide your agent that information. That includes a pre-approval, not just a pre-qualification, but an actual pre-approval. Ask your lender what that is. Number 2 is proof of the down payment. An actual bank statement or stock statement or wherever your down payment is coming from. A copy of that given to your agent to give to the seller so they can review that. Those 2 are critical. Number 3 is, you know, the documentation completely filled out properly, signed properly, so when the agent delivers it to the seller, it's all done. Your agent will guide you with that. So that's critical. And those are obvious. The other ones that may be not so obvious: how do you improve your offer? Forgetting raising the price, but how do you improve your offer to win? Now you have to understand, what are the other buyers going to be offering in relationship to contingencies? That's what the seller's looking at. What are the contingencies in your offer? Now the 3 major contingencies in all offers are financing, which includes your actual loan approval and your appraisal. So there's 2 parts to the finance contingency. Number 3 is your inspection contingency. Now California Association of Realtors have drafted these contracts with 17 days pre-written in them. Most agents, when they write the offer, just go with the 17 days, meaning you have a get out clause in those first 17 days. If you don't qualify for the loan, the property doesn't appraise, or you don't feel the property passes your inspection criteria. Easy to get out. But what does a seller see when you put that in? They see that this deal could die. This deal could fall apart. Now if you shorten those contingency time frames to, let's say, 7 days or 10 days, just shorter than what's standard, the seller may look favorably at that. They may look like you're going to make your decision much sooner than a competing buyer writing on the same property. So you'll want to talk to your agent again about how short is safe to go on those contingencies. For example, on your loan, do you absolutely know you're qualified? Meaning you're buying let's say a $2 million home and you're qualified to spend $4 million. You know what? Do you have anything really to fret? Your inspection contingency. You know, do you really need 17 days to figure out if the home's in good condition? Can you get your inspector there within 2 or 3 days and get that figured out right away? That'll certainly give the seller a lot more comfort. So these are a couple of tricks of the trade. There's so many different ones that you can use to help make your offer look better than another buyer. You know what? I wrote down a couple. I don't want to miss them all. A letter to the seller. You know, writing an endearing letter to the seller that describes your situation, your personal situation, something that might win some brownie points, as we call it, with the seller. You know what? Releasing your deposit. You know, once you put your deposit in, you remove your contingencies. If you're willing to release your deposit to the seller after all those contingencies are removed, and now the seller has that money in hand, they may feel comfortable with you as the buyer that you're willing to put that money in their pocket. It really doesn't matter if it's in their pocket or sitting in escrow in most cases if you've removed your contingencies. So not a bad tip. Increasing your deposit. It's pretty well known that most offers come with a 3% deposit. In other words, you're buying a $3 million home, you put a $30,000 deposit into escrow, pretty common. But if you're open to it, putting a larger deposit to show good faith that you're committed to buying that home is not a bad idea. Seller move dates. This is a big one. If you could find out when the seller wants to move or what their issues are as it relates to moving, and you can accommodate them. I can tell you, for example, a buyer offered on a property that I'm aware of to close escrow in 3 weeks. They're willing to close in 21 days, yet give the seller a free month in the home after the close. Guess who won? That buyer won the deal, because they didn't need to move in right away. They weren't worried about losing a month in their mortgage. For a few $1,000s, they won the property and were ecstatic. So again, these are a couple little tips on how to win in a multiple offer situation without raising your price up and trying to spend $10 or $50 or $100,000 over an asking price to try to get that property. If you want some more tips, you can actually send me an email to offertips@ek@itsold.com. So just send me a quick email. I'll send you some more ideas. In the meantime, good luck and have a great 2012.